Hello and welcome to yoga session number 26 for Tarrant County College. My name is Eli Yoga. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. We'll begin in our standing mountain pose with our palms facing forward and our shoulders relaxed away from our ears. Let's spend a few breaths focusing as we breathe in and breathe out. Our eyes have the option to be opened or closed. We're letting go of thoughts of the past. We're letting go of thoughts of the future. We're finding ourselves in this present breath, in this present moment. Let's begin to activate and breathe and lengthen our arms to the sky, extended mountain. Breathe out as we fold our knees and sink into our activated chair. Breathe in when we lengthen up. Breathe out as we sink into our chair. One breath, one movement, body and mind continuing to work together. Breath and movement matching. Having the option to add arms or not. Having the option to rest hands to thighs as we fold our knees. Maybe as we bend our knees for more sensation, elevating our heels off of the floor to intensify the sensation. Also, for more work, as we raise our arms, maybe elevating biceps by ears instead of just raising hands to the height of your shoulders. I'm more of a raise the hands to the height of the shoulders just for personal preference. You go with what feels best for your body. Possibly adding music if you'd like to add some music. On our next inhalation, let's keep our arms elevated up and overhead. On our next exhalation, we release our hands to our heart center. Let's find ourselves opening up our stance into a wide sunflower stance. Breathing in, lengthening arms up and overhead. Breathing out as we squat down. Treating our sunflowers as an equivalent to energy. So breathe in, gathering sunflowers. Breathing out, releasing sunflowers to others. Gathering energy and releasing energy. Some of us are more successful in folding deeper in our knee joints to allow our buttocks to get a little bit closer to the floor. Others may not, and it's okay to go with what works best for your body. One breath, one movement, body and mind continuing to work together. Breath and movement matching. On our next inhalation, let's keep our arms up and overhead. Let's release hands and energy to our heart center. Turning our left toes towards the backs of our mats, our right heels towards the front of our mats. Opening our arms out to the side as we breathe out, folding into our warrior two legs. Breathe in to straighten through our left knee joint. Breathing out as we fold, possibly sending our eye gaze to follow this left hand. One breath, one movement, body and mind continuing to work together. Breath and movement matching. We can continue with this if we like. Let's hold in our warrior two leg. Breathe in, reversing warrior. Breathe out to our version of extended angle. Breathe in as we lengthen up, reverse warrior. Breathe out into our extended angle. Possibly dropping our left hand to the floor or to a block, maintaining the stability of the right shoulder here, this right shoulder open to the sky. Allowing our muscles to move with our minds. Allowing our breath and our movement to match. Let's return to our warrior two arms. And let's release our hands down. We adjust our feet. So our right toes face the front of our mat, pressing our left heel towards the back of our mat. As we breathe out, we fold into our right knee joint. Breathe in, straighten, possibly sending our eye gaze over towards our right fingers. Pressing through the outside of our left foot. Instead of a word of the day, I have another question for you. Let's hold in our warrior two, reverse warrior, to our extended angle. Do you have a fun fact about yourself? Fun fact could be anything you want to tell me. So a fun fact that you may not know about me is that I play the guitar. I was raised Catholic and played the guitar in our Spanish choir. So if you need an expert on Catholic Spanish church songs played by the guitar, I am your person. So any kind of fun fact you have, whether it's you're an only child, it's you're the middle child of 10 or 20, or you have a special skill or interest, give me a fun fact in your submission. Let's return to our warrior two arms. Let's straighten through this knee joint, adjust our feet to your sunflower feet, five-pointed star moon god. Breathing into our five-pointed star, breathing out as we sink into our moon god. One breath, one movement, body and mind working together. Breath and movement matching. If you'd like to add your warrior two arms for every other moon god squat, you may. If you would like to add warrior two leg positioning with those warrior two arms, you may as well. Let's return to our five-pointed star and release our hands and our energy to our heart center. Now you're welcome to stay standing with the options we just performed. However, if you're able to kneel, let's bring you down to a kneeling position on your mat and promote some more lateral flexion for us. Straightening your left leg over towards the back of your mat, right knee remains bent for our kneeling side plank. Breathe in to our gate pose. Breathe out to our kneeling side plank. One breath, one movement. Body and mind working together. Breath and movement matching. We can hold here in our kneeling side plank, dropping our left arm down, raise the left arm and the left leg, maybe just the leg, maybe just the arm. Resting our left hand to our waist, breathe in, draw left knee into chest, breathe out as we press our left heel towards the back of our mat. Let's rest our left knee down and switch over to the other side, kneeling side plank, gate pose, returning to our kneeling side plank. Holding here in our kneeling side plank, dropping our right arm, maybe raise foot and arm together, or just the leg, possibly just the arm on the lift and the lower. We release our right hand to our waist, breathe in, knee towards chest, breathe out, as we press our right heel towards the front of our mats. Holding our heel towards the front of our mat, let's release our knees down, finding ourselves moving into some cat-cow postures, and you're welcome to remain standing for a standing cat-cow. Breathing out, we round our mid back to the sky, dropping our head, breathing in to arch and send our eye gaze to the ceiling. Breathing out when we round. See curve shape for our spine. Breathing in as we arch. One breath. One movement. Body and mind continuing to work together. Breath and movement matching. Spinal balance, finding ourselves on all fours, sending one leg behind us, opposite arm forward. Release hand and knees, switch over to the other side. Option to only raise a leg or to only raise an arm. And if you're not able to be on your knees, an acceptable substitute for this would be to return to your activated chair pose from your standing position, with or without the use of those arms on that potential activated chair. Finding ourselves releasing down, child's pose, extended, modified, or regular. Reminding ourselves that we can perform child's pose as a substitute to our downward facing dog. And if we prefer to move into a downward facing dog at this point, we may. If you're in the down dog, let's walk the dog, alternating as we press one heel down, then the other. We have starfish hands, even weight distribution amongst our fingertips and our palms. We step our right foot forward, possibly left knee to the mat for a kneeling warrior. If you're unable to perform your kneeling warrior, crescent lunge is completely acceptable. Breathe in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands, and curl those left toes under. Raise the left knee, and then lower the left knee slightly. The left knee does not actually have to hit the mat. Mindful of right knee placement over right ankle. Possibly hands to thigh on this activated runner's lunge or crescent lunge. Maybe biceps by ears. We release our hands down. We step back, down dog, or child's pose extended, walking the dog. We step our left foot forward in between our hands, resting our right knee to the mat, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathe in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands, curling our right toes under. As we breathe out, raise our right knee and lower down, possibly sending hands to thighs to challenge balance, maybe biceps by ears. The right knee may or may not hit the floor. I choose to not have it hit the floor. We release our hands down. We step back, downward facing dog, or child's pose extended. Let's walk, hop, or jump. Feet forward, forward fold, softening through those knees. Using the power of our legs, we breathe in. Circle sweep our arms to the sky. Breathing out, let's release hands and energy to our heart center. Sun salutations, palms facing forward, shoulders mounting from our ears. We breathe in, lengthen our arms to the sky, extended mountain. Breathe out when we swan dive, hinge from our hips into our forward fold, right side first today. Breathe in, gazing forward, monkey pose. Breathe out, we step our right foot back. Kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, we lengthen heart center sky. Breathe out, we release our hands as we step back. Down dog or child's pose extended. Let's breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, drop the hips, roll up dog. Breathe out, back to down dog or child's pose extended. We step our right foot forward. Left knee to the mat or not, you decide. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step forward, forward, forward. Breathe in, let's reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose, left side. Breathe in, we lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathing out, we're swan diving, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, let's gaze forward, monkey pose. Breathe out, we step our left foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose extended. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out as we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe and drop the hips, roll up dog. Breathe out, back to down dog or child's pose extended. We step our left foot forward. Right knee to the mat or not, you decide. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step forward, forward, forward. Breathe in, let's reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose, right side. Breathe in, lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathing out, we swan dive, hinge from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we gaze forward, monkey. Breathe out, we step our right foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose, maybe left leg kicks up to a three-legged down dog. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, chaturanga, better knees to hit the mat than chest or belly. Breathe and drop the hips, roll upward facing dog. Breathe out, back to down dog or child's pose extended. We step our right foot forward. Left knee to the mat or not, you decide. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step forward, forward, forward. Breathe in when we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose, left side. Breathe in, lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathing out, we're swan diving, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we gaze forward, monkey. Breathe out, we step our left foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose, maybe right leg kicks up to our three-legged down dog. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, chaturanga. Breathe in, we roll upward facing dog. Breathe out, back to down dog or child's pose extended. We step our left foot forward. Breathing in, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathe out, release our hands as we step forward, forward, forward. Breathe in when we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose, right side. Breathe and lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathing out when we swan dive, hinge from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we gaze forward, monkey pose. Breathe out, we step our right foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose, maybe left leg kicks up to a three-legged down dog. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, chaturanga. Breathe in, both feet to the mat. Roll up dog. Breathe out, back to down dog, or child's pose extended. We step our right foot forward. Breathing in, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing out, release our hands as we step forward, forward fold. Breathe in, we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose. Left side. Breathe in, lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathing out, we're swan diving, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we gaze forward, monkey pose. Breathe out, we step our left foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose, maybe right leg kicks up to a three-legged down dog. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, both feet to the mat, roll up dog. Breathe out, back to down dog, or child's pose extended. We step our left foot forward. Breathing in, arms or no arms. Breathe out, release our hands as we step forward, forward fold. Breathe in, we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose to complete our final sun salutation for today. Breathe in, let's lengthen our arms back up and overhead. Breathing out as we release hands and energy to our heart center. We find ourselves stepping our left foot back into our wide sunflower stance. Breathing into our five-pointed star. Breathing out into our moon god. Breathe in, we shoot back up to our five-pointed star. Breathe out as we sink into our moon god. One breath, one movement. Body and mind continuation for the first portion of our moon salutations. Breath and movement matching. We will crescent lunge towards the back of our mats. That's where my blocks are in case you need blocks. On our next inhalation, let's crescent lunge towards the backs of our mats, folding through our left knee joint. Sink into low body, expand back with our upper body. It's okay to rest your right knee to the mat for a kneeling warrior as a substitute for our crescent lunge. The next time we breathe out, releasing our hands down to the floor, stepping our right foot slightly inward. Our hands can rest onto blocks. We straighten through our left knee joint, shifting our hips forward and back to determine if one hip placement over another creates a desired sensation for our left hamstrings. Hands also have the option for chest expansion or upside down prayer pose. Maybe stay here in your pyramid. Possibly fold through this left knee joint, walk the fingertips forward, and possibly stay there. Maybe raise your right foot up to the height of your spine. Potentially right hand towards right leg if balance allows. Possibly right fingertips to the sky. Potential eye gaze towards the side of our mat. Dorsiflexing the right heel, pulling it behind us. Our back and our top leg could be touching that imaginary wall or the real wall to assist us in our balance. We safely release fingers and toes, walking those blocks over towards the front of our mats. Breathe in, prayer squat. Let the toes turn out towards the corners of our mats. Maybe stay upright, possibly hinge forward, sinking our tailbone a little bit closer towards the earth with our exhalation. Prayer squat to complete our moon salutation. The next time we breathe in, we return to our five-pointed star. Breathing out, sinking into our moon god. Breathe in as we shoot back up to our five-pointed star. Breathing out as we return to our moon god. A brief return to one breath, one movement at the beginning of our moon salutations. Body and mind working together. Breath and movement matching. On our next inhalation, crescent lunge towards the front of our mats. It's okay to drop our left knee down to the mat for a kneeling warrior. Sinking into low body, expanding back with our upper body, breath continuation. We release our hands down. Pyramid pose, stepping our left foot inward, releasing our left heel to the mat, attempting to straighten through our right knee joint. Hands can rest to the floor, blocks, textbooks. Shifting our hips forward and back to embrace the sensation for our right hamstrings. Upside down prayer pose or chest expansion arms if we had selected this option on the first side. Potentially stay here in our pyramid if you'd like to join me for balancing half moon. We fold through our right knee joint, walk our fingertips about 12 inches in front of our right foot. Maybe stay here, maybe raise our right foot off, our left foot off of the floor. Maybe left hand towards left leg, possibly eye gaze to the side of our mat. Maybe left fingertips to the sky, dorsiflex our left heel, pulling our left heel behind us, hitting the real wall or the imaginary wall, depending on our body's ability to balance. I accept my body and my mind completely in this moment, in this breath. We release fingers and toes. I'm going to keep the blocks there, walking my hands towards the center of our mat. Prayer squat, sunflower feet, hands to heart center, potentially upright, maybe hinged forward. We'll complete 2 more moon salutations. We'll move towards the front of our mats for block accessibility. On our next inhalation, 5-pointed star. Breathing out, moon god. 1 breath, 1 movement, brief return. The next time we breathe in, crescent lunge or kneeling warrior towards the front of our mats. Release hands down, pyramid pose, stepping left foot inward, straightening through right knee, breath continuation. Options for chest expansion or upside down prayer pose arms. Balancing half moon options, maybe stay here in pyramid, folding through the right knee joint, walking fingertips forward, maybe raising left foot, possibly left hand towards left leg, dorsiflexing left foot, and breathing. If we use the blocks, let's safely release fingers and toes and walk those blocks over towards the backs of our mats. Prayer squat, come back to center. Release hands to heart center. Breathing in, 5-pointed star. Breathing out, moon god. Breathe into our 5-pointed star. Breathing out as we sink into our moon god. On our next inhalation, crescent lunge or kneeling warrior towards the backs of our mats. Releasing our hands down, pyramid pose, stepping our right foot slightly inward, releasing our right heel, attempting to straighten through our left knee joint. Hands can stay where they are, possibly chest expansion or upside down prayer pose arms, depending on what we selected on the previous side. Possibly stay here in your pyramid, maybe release hands to the mat, walking those fingertips forward, folding through the left knee joint, potentially raising our right foot up to the height of our spine, possibly right hand towards right leg, maybe right fingertips to the sky, possibly eye gaze to the side of our mat, balancing half moon, and we breathe. Opening the right shoulder to the sky and breathing. We gently release fingers and toes, wide sunflower stance. Prayer squat to complete our moon salutation. Potentially upright, possibly hinged forward. The next time we breathe in, let's return to our five-pointed star. The next time we breathe out, we release hands to heart center. We step forward towards the front of our mat, standing mountain pose. Palms are facing forward. Ears are relaxed away from our ears. We breathe in, circle sweep our arms to the sky. Breathe out, swan diving, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Let's walk, hop, or jump feet back. Downward facing dog. We're releasing our knees to the mat. Child's pose, extended, modified, or regular. Finding ourselves laying onto one side. For our sideline dancer pose, we fold through our top knee and draw our heel towards our buttocks. The knee wants to float up to the ceiling, keeping our knee dropped down to the floor and breathing. We release. Let's switch over to the other side. Bottom arm serves as our pillow, folding our top knee, sideline dancer pose. We release, returning to a seated position. Seated spinal twist. Let's bend our right knee. Possibly step our right foot over the left leg. Right hand behind our back, left hand or left elbow, depending on our body's ability to twist. We limit for pregnancy. Potentially twisting over our right shoulder, dorsiflexing our left foot towards our face, pulling our left toes towards our face, and breathing. Now we can stay here if you'd like to go into a Turkish twist. Fold through that bottom knee joint and attempt to stack knees on top of each other. Gives a nice stretch for this right gluteal area, piriformis. Potentially hands to heart center and twist. Again, limiting our rotation of the spine depending on back issues or pregnancy. Allowing our breath to help us sink 1/10 of a millimeter deeper into our stretch. And let's return to center. We switch over to the other side. Straightening our right knee joint, left knee is folded. We could step our left foot over our right leg, maybe right hand to the outside of the left knee, maybe right elbow, eye gaze potentially over our left shoulder behind us. Breathing in through the low back, blow out to sink 1/10 of a millimeter deeper. If we preferred the Turkish twist option on the first side, folding through the right knee, stacking left knee on top of right, anchoring our left butt cheek to the mat. Prayer pose arms, maybe twist, maybe eye gaze over our left shoulder. Every day is different. Every body is different. Accepting ourselves for where we are in this present breath, in this present moment. return to center. And let's find ourselves completing the sideline dancer pose and the seated spinal twist again. However, if you like the balance challenge, let's bring ourselves into a downward facing dog and find ourselves walking our feet towards our hands, bringing ourselves back up to a standing position. For the balance challenge from our standing position, our dancer pose, and again, you may lay on your sides if you prefer. We'll fold our left elbow joint and send our left foot up to meet our left hand. We could also stand by a wall to assist us in balance here. We might select to stay here, potentially straighten through the right elbow joint, possibly hinge forward, maybe send this right hand to our left foot as well. Potentially continue to hinge forward if flexibility allows. Let's carefully bring ourselves back to center. Roll over to the other side if you selected to stay on your side. Folding through our left elbow joint. Right hand to right foot. Maybe stay here. Potentially extend the left arm to the sky. Possibly hinge forward. Every day is different. Every body is different. Possibly left hand to right foot as well. Dancer pose, breath continuation. We carefully return to our central location. Seated position for our seated spinal twist. However, if we'd like to perform this from our standing position, we find ourselves raising our right foot off of the mat, possibly right hand to the waist, left hand to the outside of our right knee. We could stay here. We could look over to the front of our mat. We could look over our right shoulder behind us. Maybe straighten through the right elbow joint and reach the right fingers behind you. Always breathe. Now, if flexibility allows, come back to center, left peace fingers around right big toes, and possibly straighten through this knee and continue your standing spinal twist with the extended right leg forward. It's okay to keep it bent. Remember to breathe. Let's carefully return to center and transition to the other side. We raise our left foot. This side again might be easier, it might be more challenging, and we can perform this from our seated spinal twist or Turkish twist option. Left hand to the waist, right hand to the outside of the left knee, possibly looking towards the back of our mat, maybe looking over our left shoulder, possibly straightening through the left elbow joint and breathing. If we would like to wrap and cap our right peace fingers around our left big toes, we return to center, right peace fingers, wrap and cap around left big toes, and we continue. This side might be easier to balance on and might be more challenging. Embracing the journey in our yoga practice as opposed to the final destination. With continued practice, we can find ourselves more centered. Let's return to our central location. Palms are facing forward, shoulders are relaxed away from our ears. We breathe in and lengthen our arms back up and overhead. Breathe out, we swan dive. Hinge from our hips. Forward fold. Preparing for gorilla pose. We're going to raise our feet. I'll give you a side knee. Raise the feet off, sending our hands underneath our feet. If you need to bend your knees to achieve this, bend those knees so that you can place the bottoms of your feet onto your palms, toes somewhat connected to the inner wrists. Now, if you're able to, with those bent knees, if you would like to somewhat straighten those knees, you may possibly adjust your body weight slightly forward and back, maintaining your balance. We can stay here in our gorilla. If we'd like to look forward into our monkey, we may as well. Continuing to send positive, healing exhalations to any area of our body where we currently feel sensation. Let's release the hold of our hands, rolling out through the wrists, forward fold. We walk, hop, or jump, feet back, downward facing dog. Resting knees to the mat, dropping my elbows and forearms down. I like to call them genie arms in preparation for a full side plank on my elbow and forearm, but you're welcome to perform your full side plank with pressure up onto your hands. I just have wrist issues myself. Curling those toes under and stepping back into our genie plank. Kneeling side plank is also acceptable. I'm going to remove my left hand so I can face you into a kneeling side plank. All 10 toes are facing you as well. And we breathe. Let's return to those genie arms. You can take a rest in child's pose if you so desire. Preparing for the other direction, raising the right arm and twisting. All 10 toes are now facing the back. My heels are facing you. Returning to center, resting my knees down. Child's pose, extended, modified, or regular. Crow pose options if the wrists can handle this, or hang out in down dog or child's pose. Moving into, I'm going to kind of give you a bit of a back view today. Hopefully my heels are visible, heels are lifted. Hands go underneath shoulders. Hands are pretty close to my toes here. Possibly stay here. Maybe flip those toes back. Possibly raise the feet off of the mat. Elbows are being hugged by my inner thighs. And some of us may only be able to hold this pose for a split breath or second. At some point, there's the ability to straighten one leg out to the side and straighten through that knee joint. I'm not there, but if you want to try it, you go for it. And I'm ready to release for today. You're welcome to stay up there if you like. Child's pose, extended, modified, or regular. We walk our hands back towards our knees. As we sit onto our heels, we wrap our feet around towards the front of our mats. We can find ourselves laying on our backs. Bridge pose. Knees are bent. As we breathe out, lifting our hips off of the mat. Potentially stay here. Maybe interlace our hands underneath our buttocks. If you'd like to move into a wheel pose, hands underneath your shoulders, possibly apply pressure into your hands to elevate shoulders and head off of the mat. If you don't like this, go back to your bridge. Just promoting on that wheel a little bit more extension of the spine. Wherever we are, let's safely release. Resting shoulders, tailbone back down to the mat. Modified pigeon pose, and if you'd rather perform pigeon from a down dog, feel free to go there. Right ankle to left thigh. Raising our left foot off of the mat, right hand inside the hole created by our legs, clasping our hands underneath our left hamstrings or in front of our left shin. We breathe. Let's carefully release and transition to the other side. Left ankle to right thigh, raising our right foot off of the mat if possible. Left hand inside the hole created by our legs, clasping our hands around our right shin or our right hamstrings for our reclining pigeon pose. We carefully release. Happy baby pose. Soles of the feet to the sky, knees are opened out fairly wide. Wrap and cap, peace fingers around big toes, possibly stay here. If flexibility allows, we can straighten through our knee joints. Head could be resting or head could be elevated. We breathe. And let's release. If we happen to have a strap nearby, picking up that strap, placing it around the arch of our left foot, pressing our left heel towards the ceiling. Right leg can stay with a bent knee or straighten our right leg flat to the mat. If you have the flexibility to wrap and cap your left peace fingers around your left big toe and you don't need the strap, go for it. And as usual, a piece of clothing can serve as a substitute for that strap as well. Let's open this foot out to the side, anchoring both butt cheeks to the mat, promoting a nice stretch for our inner thighs. Let's return to center, twisting our big toes towards our face, our pinky toes to the ceiling, hinging our legs slightly across our body for our TFL stretch, tensor fascia lata. We return to center, switch out. Right foot goes into our strap or makeshift strap, or maybe right peace fingers around right big toes. Your choice to have the bottom leg or the non-stretching leg bent knee or straightened leg flat to the mat. Press this heel towards the ceiling as we tug our toes in towards our face. We open our leg out to the side, anchoring both butt cheeks to the mat. return to center, twisting big toes towards our face, pinky toes to the ceiling, hinging our legs slightly across our body. And we return to center, releasing our foot from our strap or hand or makeshift strap, preparing to move through some muscle tightening before we enter relaxation, possibly tightening and squeezing every single muscle we have in our bodies. Then soften, release, relax. Again, tighten and squeeze, holding on. Soften, release, relax. One more time, breathing and tightening and squeezing, holding on, creating fists. Breathe out, soften, release, relax. Having the liberty to send your feet up against a wall. Maybe bend those knees, soles of the feet to the mat, whether you have butterfly feet or knees knobbed inward, potentially rolling over to a side into a fetal position. Find a place where you feel calm, peaceful, and relaxed. This is your reward for taking the time to honor your body through breath and movement. Let's gently roll over onto one side, returning to a fetal position, allowing our bottom arm to serve as our pillow, allowing our knees to fold up to our chest, possibly wiggling fingers and toes to help reawaken our bodies. Let's guide ourselves back to our seated position. From our seated position, let's dip one ear towards the shoulder, and let's return to center, transitioning over to the other side, returning to center. The next time we breathe in, let's lengthen our arms up and overhead. The next time we breathe out, we're releasing hands and energy to our heart center. Thank you for taking the time to join me today. My spirit honors yours. Namaste.